Good evening and welcome to the Posthumous Poetry Series, Part 44. Today is the last Saturday of September, and it's truly one of those magnificent September days before everything changes. The weather was gorgeous. And today's poem is about September. It's one of my favorites poems. As we kind of go into the last movement of the series, these poems are just so magnificent that I'm going to read. I hope everybody enjoys them. This poem was also published in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette at a time when they were really receptive to my poetry. And they since so stopped because I sent them the first poem in this series to them, and that's kind of what kicked the series off, and they also had to do with September. This is from a collection I wrote a long time ago, and in that time I was writing just, the lyric poem was really what was being written, and I don't want to egghead this to death or anything. But even in small poems, short poems, you can stick a lot of stuff in there that's kind of fun and interesting. The title of the poem is The Septembrist. And two definitions of the Septembrist. The first one is the group of people who killed all the royalty in France in like the 1790s. And then the other definition was the group of terrorists who killed all the royalty in Portugal in the 1860s or something. But that's too confining of a definition. I saw a group called the Telegraph Melt who did a song called The Septembrist also, which would be more in line with where we're going to go tonight. And there's not much that needs explaining, except I do reference Jeoffrey and Jemima. Jemima was my cat at one time, and Jeoffrey was an allusion to Christopher Smart. And Christopher Smart was an English poet who is as well known for being mad as he was for his poetry. And he has a beautiful poem about his cat Jeoffrey. And if anyone has time to go read it, they'll be time well spent. It's funny because he died in the 1700s, and the collection that had the poem about his cat Jeoffrey in it didn't get published till somewhere in the 1930s, 1939, I believe. That's really weird. Who held that poem for all that time? That tells you really how poetry is. I'm sure that's how it's going to be for me. Shit like 20 years from now, so I'm going to start publishing my shit after I'm way dead. But that's okay. Better late than never. And this poem is called The Septembrist. Sun in, coats on. Sun out, coats off. No couture is concrete. There is green, but the trees are redding their henna. The sun genuflects in an earlier sabbath. The least flea seeks a jeoffrey or jemima for warmth and broth. This is our heaven. Even the dead call it September.